Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez resuming the criminal docket for the 210th District Court for November 16, 2021. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. And I will go ahead and call our next case, calling cause number 2020-0D00002, State of Texas versus Gilbert Bautista. May I have announcement, please?
Brian Herrera, State of Texas, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Todd Dunham for Mr. Gilbert Bautista, and we're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
And Mr. Bautista is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for a bond hearing this morning. Mr. Dunham, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Bautista was arrested, I believe it was either the 21st or 22nd of October. He is currently on deferred adjudication probation. And because he's on deferred, he does have the right to have a bond set. However, we would also like the court to entertain the idea that he has been sanctioned for his probation issues. I know you had originally ordered him to turn himself in the day after we had our last hearing. Mr. Bautista did not do that. My understanding from speaking with him is he was, well, honestly, he panicked. He was trying to get the information he should have had for the hearing, which was up in Odessa. And his thinking was not clear, but it was that if he went to Odessa to get this stuff, that maybe he could change the situation. Obviously, he just made that worse, but I've had an opportunity to speak with him. I believe he understands now that he just needs to learn to follow instructions from the court and work this probation program as he's told to. So if the court would entertain the idea that since he's been in almost a month now, that he's served more than the original sanction. Obviously, he didn't turn himself in, so that we wouldn't expect that to be the original sanction, but he has done more time than the original sanction. I believe Mr. Bautista would be able to remain in El Paso for a while with his mother. I also spoke with his fiance. She's working to get a place for them to live here in El Paso, pending either we could come back in the future to discuss maybe allowing him to move back to Odessa if he does fine on probation here. But for the time being, he would remain in El Paso County if the judge sees fit to release him. And I did speak with his mother, and she had acknowledged that he could stay with her for a while they find a place to live.
Mr. Bautista, do you see this has been a long process for something that really you didn't need to be in the position that you're in right now? Okay. Mr. Herrera, do you have any input on this?
No, Your Honor. Obviously, the defendant is entitled to bond because he is on deferred adjudication probation. So we will not object to that, but we will defer to the court as to how that will be set.
This is what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is really, I think Mr. Dunham has summarized what the original, I think, intention was. I don't even know that we were necessarily should have been at a jail commitment, but we are. And so that, for my purposes, has been satisfied. And I think it was a 15-day jail commitment. What I want to do, just reviewing the case summary that I received, I know there's some financial constraints on here. What I am willing to do with you, Mr. Bautista, is put you back on probation, okay? But that means you actually have to do what you're supposed to do on probation, which means you can't just take off out of town and go work in Odessa or anything like that. I will work with you on those things, but there was, in the period of time that we were attempting to address this issue, I did not really see you do your part. And I don't know if this time in jail is enough to make you realize that you have to take it seriously. How long is he on probation for, Carla?
Still have him until October 2028.
Oh, we have plenty of time. We got 8 years deferred. That's a long time, Mr. Bautista. So this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna cancel the bench warrant. Mr. Herrera, the motion, I think I reviewed it actually right before this hearing. I think it was basically technicals, and then 2 months of the failures to report. For my purposes, the 15-day commitment is satisfied. In terms of some of his conditions, because I'm sure the financial constraints haven't gone away, his probation fees are at $60. I'm going to reduce those to $25 retroactive to the day he started on probation. It looks like we have some restitution outstanding. He still may not leave El Paso County, and must maintain a residence that he reports within El Paso County to probation. How often is he reporting, Carla? Supposed to be reporting?
Monthly, Judge.
Okay, monthly's good. And what about the drug testing? Because I think that was an issue at some point too.
That had been an issue, Judge, prior, when the admonishment had been held a couple months back. The last drug test was on 9/24/21, which was negative.
Okay, so I need him tested monthly, at least for the first 2 months. And then after that, probation can handle it however they would normally handle it. I do see we have some classes outstanding, anger management and theft counseling. I'm going to give him 6 months to complete those classes, Mr. Dunham. And this is my point, Mr. Bautista. That's not because I want to see you comply. The reality is, what is the underlying offense? Robbery. Wow. Okay. I want to see some compliance. So that's why I'm going to put some deadlines on those. We will come back in 60 days. That gets us to January. We'll look at mid-January for a review hearing. And I'm just going to check in on you, Mr. Bautista, to make sure that everything is going the way it should be. Okay? We're going to move on from here. The problem is, if you end up with the same kind of behavior, for my purposes, this is your chance. This is your chance to straighten out. We still got a lot of probation left, okay? So that's what we're doing for now. Carla, are there any other issues? I'm trying to look at the case summary and see. Fine, court costs, probation fees.
That was
And
the
then
only
restitution.
issue, Judge. I don't know if we want to. Mr. Bautista is someone who I believe had his business back in Odessa.
Right,
That's where he was employed, but he never provided the proof of employment.
right.
I'm not sure. I know, I understand you just mentioned you didn't want him to leave El Paso. I don't know where the employment part stands.
So Mr. Dunham did represent that they're basically trying to arrange to settle here in some way. So.
Your Honor, if we could, when we come back in at the review hearing,
Mhm.
I know he's got, what it was is he had a car wash business up in Odessa.
Mhm.
And it's that kind of business, it's a lot of cash and it's difficult to, you don't get a paycheck. So that's kind of hard to show employment. I just received some receipts right before this hearing today.
Mhm.
So if I'm able to gather something, I'm not sure what the court would want in January at this point, because obviously he'll need to be working between now and then. But I believe Mr. Bautista would like to be with his fiance in Odessa at some point in the future.
Okay, so I misunderstood. I thought she was coming down here and they were kind of arranging.
It would be, I think that would just be temporary to handle this situation. Obviously, her family's in Odessa. I think they're doing better in Odessa, but if we could just see how we do until January, and if the court would be open to considering allowing him to return to Odessa in the future.
No, I don't need to, well, okay, yes. I will reconsider it in January. However, if what we're actually saying is he wants to go live his life in Odessa, then I think that is the process that needs to happen. And he needs to remain in El Paso until he changes over to Odessa. Okay? So we have to be here until then.
Okay.
Okay?
And we've discussed that, and that's what you'll be doing at least, and we'll meet again in January and
Mr. Bautista, upon release, you must contact your probation officer within 48 hours.
Understood, ma'am.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Dunham.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And
All
if you could get Zavala next, please.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Zavala. All right, go ahead, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. Cause number 2021-0D01361. Cause number 2021-0D02348. State of Texas versus Jose Manuel Zavala. Announcement of council, please.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas. Ready, Your Honor.
Ben Ivy for Jose Zavala, ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ivy, do you see your client appearing from the jail annex?
I do, Judge.
All
Your
righty.
Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. He needs an interpreter. He's a Spanish speaker.
Ándale. Okay,
Sorry.
so Mr. Zavala is gonna have to wait until we get an interpreter. Let's go ahead, Mr. Zavala. Well, you'll just go ahead and put him aside and bring on Mr. Gallardo annex. My apologies.
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
Oh, there you are. All righty, go ahead, Tree.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2020-0D05746. Cause number 2021-0D01564. Then cause number 2021-0D01343. State of Texas versus Fabian Gallardo Jr. Announcement of council, please.
Ashley Martinez, ready for the state of Texas on all cases.
Omar Carmona for Mr. Gallardo, ready.
Okay, and this was a quick turnaround reset. Mr. Gallardo is appearing from the jail annex, the status conference. What is happening, Mr. Corona?
Well, I know that Ms. Martinez has raised some concerns about my potential continued representation of Mr. Gallardo, in that I represent his stepfather on another criminal matter that was unrelated. However, I believe the state's interpretation is because of actions allegedly taken by Mr. Ortiz, his stepfather. Ms. Martinez, if I have it correct, Ms. Martinez believes that there is a conflict now.
Yes.
I mean, I still believe that I can zealously represent both. I mean, the two underlying charges are unrelated. I am aware of Ms. Martinez's concerns, but I'm going to have to leave it up to the court as to, how the court would like to proceed.
So I don't know that I ever asked. I may have just assumed that you were representing the gentleman, Tony, what's his name? Ortiz?
Antonio Ortiz.
On cases that maybe were not directly related to these, but were in some other ways related. I don't know if it was, Ashley, you're nodding yes. Can you enlighten me on that?
Yes, Your Honor. November, prior to Mr. Gallardo picking up his charges, his stepfather was charged with ag assault, deadly weapon, pointing the gun at Fabian's mother. Fabian's mother also has charges coming because she also had a gun, and there's a terroristic threat where my victim is the victim. And Mr. Carmona does represent both Tony Ortiz, who is charged with the ag assault, deadly weapon. The mother, Fabian's mother, is the victim in that case, but she's also a defendant in another case, all involving my victim. So it's completely intertwined, Your Honor.
I mean, does it have to do, does it have to do with, for example, I thought I remembered that the female and Mr. Ortiz, so I guess Mr. Gallardo's mom and Mr. Ortiz picked up cases that were related, I think, to the violation. The violation of the protective order was the last one. Is that right?
There are two.
Okay, so are Mr. Ortiz and the female's cases related to that violation of protective order? I thought it was something about all of them going to the house or something like that.
Yes, ma'am. So the mother is charged with the terroristic threat, and she's also the victim in Mr. Ortiz's case with the ag assault, deadly weapon. And so they're all going to be potential witnesses for Mr. Carmona. And so the state's worry and concern is that how is he going to adequately represent Mr. Ortiz in his ag assault deadly weapon that's going on, but still adequately represent Mr. Gallardo, because we do believe that a new offense has occurred involving Mr. Ortiz. I did provide the videos and the jail calls to Mr. Carmona, and you'll hear Mr. Ortiz saying one thing and Mr. Gallardo saying the exact opposite. And so, and that will come up in trial, Your Honor, as we have not been able to reach an agreement.
Okay. So in terms of Mr. Carmona's representation of Mr. Gallardo, I'm not sure that I'm there, Ms. Martinez. And so if you want to file something formally regarding your concerns about conflict, based on what I'm hearing right now from Mr. Gallardo, I do not see that. Okay. If there's something more or case law or something you want me to look at regarding this type of relationships, I guess, then feel free to submit it and we can have a hearing on it before our actual trial setting, which is on the 9th and 10th, which we're still set for trial. Are there any other issues outstanding that need to be heard before those the final hearing plea deadline?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez, if you have something, just send it on over. You know, we'll be slow on the Thanksgiving break, but we can have a hearing fairly quickly after that.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, so
Thank
then we're
you.
still on for trial. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Gallardo.
May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
And Your
All right.
Honor, just to clarify, I don't have anything at 3 o'clock on the other case we
We handled
mentioned
everything.
Thursday. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
Judge.
all righty.
Take care.
You two, who's next, Shui?
And if we could get Zavala, the interpreter has showed up, Judge.
Yay, okay. Is it Ms. Santos again?
It's Mr. Cifuentes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Sorry, this time is Jesus.
No, don't be sorry. I just didn't think there were so many of you that you all could rotate. I thought it would still be Ms. Santos.
No,
Yeah.
she's busy at a family court.
Okay, we had a false alarm earlier. Let's go ahead and get situated if we can get the interpreter function going.
Yes, Judge. Annex. Okay, thank you.
All righty, if we're ready, I think, Mr. Ivy, do you have yours? Can you speak so I can see if I hear you?
I'm sorry, Judge, what were you asking?
Yeah, I can't hear Mr. Ivy.
If you could connect to the English on your
Oh,
interpretation, please.
that better?
Yes, sir. All righty. Okay, and you're squared away, right, Mr. Cifuentes? Yes? Perfect. Go ahead, Tree.
Okay, Judge, it's cause number 2021-0D02348. Cause number 2021-0D01361. State of Texas versus Jose Manuel Zavala. Announcement to council, please.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Ben Ivy for Mr. Zavala, ready to judge.
And Mr. Ivy, do you see your client appearing from the jail annex?
I do.
Okay, and Mr. Zavala, this is Judge Perez. Just for the record, Mr. Zavala is utilizing the assistance of a court interpreter. Sir, would you state your name for the record? Okay, Mr. Cifuentes, thank you very much. Mr. Zavala, my understanding is that, well, no, we are set for pleas in both of these cases. I will be asking you some question regarding your pleas. And so I need to swear you in. If you would, please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Sí.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Sir, would you state your name for the record?
José Manuel Zavala Martinez.
Mr. Zavala, as I mentioned, we are set for two cases. We are set for pleas of guilty in each of these cases. I'm going to ask you questions about, number one, documents that you may have reviewed with your attorney. One set for each case, states exhibit number 1 are the plea papers. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Zavala, do you recall reviewing states exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes. No, sí, dije, así es. Sí, sí.
And did you understand everything that your attorney explained to you about the plea papers?
Sí.
Mr. Ivy, have you had more than 10 days to prepare defenses in these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Yes, Judge.
How did you explain them to him? Did you explain them to him in his native language, or did you have the assistance of someone?
No, I have the assistance of an interpreter, Judge.
Okay. Do you believe he understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering pleas in these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Zavala, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Sí, claro.
And Mr. Ivy, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter pleas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Zavala, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No.
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
Tampoco.
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your pleas today. Mr. Zavala, are you a U.S. citizen?
No. Soy mexicano.
Okay, okay, so you're a Mexican citizen. Mr. Ivy, did you discuss with your client any potential negative consequences to his immigration status in terms of his plea of guilty in these cases?
Yes, Judge, I did. I explained to him that he will more than likely be deported, and he understands that, and he wishes to go ahead and do the plea anyway. And the recommendation is a plea of probation, but he's going to have to serve that probation in Mexico, or if they're not able to supervise him, then he's just going to have to not return to the United States for those 10 years or break any laws in the United States.
Okay, so I didn't see anything. If you're referring to foreign national probation, is that, I didn't see any notation there. Was that what you all discussed, Mr. Herrera?
No, Your Honor, and it's my understanding from from probation is that is no longer available.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
he's just gonna do the 10 years deferred? Is that what it is?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All righty. So Mr. Zavala, I need to ask you some questions regarding your plea today. We're talking about any potential negative consequences to your status. Mr. Ivy mentioned, the likelihood of deportation. Do you have that understanding? Were you able to ask Mr. Ivy everything you needed to regarding your immigration status?
Sí, sí.
Okay, so I just need to advise you of a few things. Do you understand that aside from deportation, before we get to deportation, that you could be removed from the United States? You could also be denied the right to enter, remain, and work in the United States. Do you understand that?
Sí, sí entiendo. Sí entiendo.
You understand you can be prosecuted and jailed for re-entering the United States if you're removed and or deported?
También lo entiendo.
And do you understand you can be denied United States citizenship?
Sí, lo entiendo.
And knowing these consequences and any other consequences to your immigration status, are you still wanting to go forward with your plea of guilty today?
Sí, así es.
Okay, so in cause number 2021-0D02348, the charge against you is aggravated robbery. To that charge, what is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
So, me declaro culpable porque sí soy culpable.
Okay, and in cause number 2021-0D01361, it is the same charge, aggravated robbery. To that charge, what is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
So, me declaro culpable porque también soy culpable.
Okay, are you making each of these pleas of guilty freely and voluntarily?
Así es.
I will find you are making your pleas freely and voluntarily. Mr. Herrera, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Had the state gone to trial in cause number 2021-0D02348, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jose Manuel Zavala, also known as Jose Manuel Zavala Martinez, on or about the 24th day of April 2021 in the county of El Paso and state of Texas, did then and there, while in the course of committing theft of property and with intent to obtain or maintain control of said property, intentionally or knowingly threaten or place Eric Escobedo in fear of imminent bodily injury or death, and the defendant did then and there use or exhibit a deadly weapon, to wit, a knife, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury, and is further presented that the defendant used and exhibited a deadly weapon, to wit, a knife, during the commission of an immediate flight from said offense. And I apologize, Mr. Cifuentes, I'm going to slow down. Had the state gone to trial in cause number 2021-0D01361, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jose Manuel Zavala, on or about the 23rd day of April 2021 in the county of El Paso and state of Texas, did then and there, while in the course of committing theft of property and with intent to obtain or maintain control of said property, intentionally or knowingly threaten or place Alexis Ayala in fear of imminent bodily injury or death, and the defendant did then and there use or exhibit a deadly weapon, to wit, a knife, that in the manner of its use and intended use was capable of causing death and serious bodily injury. And it is further presented that the said defendant used and exhibited a deadly weapon, to wit, a knife, during the commission of an immediate flight from said offense. At this time, Your Honor, the state would enter States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 as to both causes. States Exhibit 1 being the plea papers, States Exhibit 2 being the Article 3914 disclosure, and States Exhibit 3 being the case summary and indictment.
Any
No
objection?
objections. No, Your Honor.
Without objection, states exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted for each case. What is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, 10 years, deferred adjudication, no early termination, no contact with the complaining witness. He's also to void the Ascension store, a deadly weapon finding, anger management, urine and breath analysis, court costs, curfew, TAP evaluation, victim impact panel, and anything else, any other standard conditions that probation deems appropriate. And those are to run concurrently, Your Honor.
Mr. Ivy, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
It is, Judge.
And Mr. Zavala, is that your understanding as well?
Yeah. Sí.
Understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your pleas. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal these cases, except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is a one-page document entitled "The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal." It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargained or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Zavala, do you recall reviewing that document with your attorney and signing that document?
Sí.
It was signed by your attorney and signed by me as well. Finally, the motion for deferred adjudication. Mr. Zavala, do you recall reviewing and signing the motion for deferred adjudication?
Sí.
Mr. Ivy, have you explained to your client both the benefits and detriments of deferred adjudication?
I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Zavala, do you understand that if you violate a condition of deferred adjudication, the court can proceed to sentence you up to the full range of punishment for these offenses? You understand that?
Sí, claro, lo entiendo perfectamente.
And are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication? Mr. Zavala, are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Sí.
Okay, I will find in each of these cases, there is sufficient evidence to substantiate findings of guilt. However, I will not enter findings of guilt at this time. Instead, I will defer further proceedings and place you on community supervision pursuant to the plea agreement for a period of 10 years. There will be a $4,000 fine. $3,500 of that is probated. There will be no early termination in any of these cases. You are to have no contact with Alexis Ayala, Erica Escobedo. There will be a deadly weapon finding. You're to attend anger management, urine and breath analysis, curfew, screen for TAP, VIP, and to not have contact with the Ascension store. These sentences will run concur with one another. Is there anything further, Mr. Ivy or Mr. Herrera?
Nothing further
Your
from
Honor.
the state, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. Zavala.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Ivey.
Will be excused.
Yes, sir, you may. Does anyone else need the interpreter?
Judge, we need the interpreter for one other defendant,
Okay.
Magdaleno Mesta.
Oh, okay.
Annex, if we can get Jose Carlos Magdaleno Mesta.
Good job, Chewy.
I'm trying.
Good afternoon. That was most excellent, Mr. Panto. You really impressed us.
All right.
One more time.
If you'll get set up, Mr. Or maybe they're already set up. Are they? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chewy, then.
Okay, Judge.
Sí,
Cause
claro.
number 2021-020-2049, State of Texas versus Jose Carlos Magdaleno Mesta. Announcement of council, please.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Julia Martina on behalf of Mr. Magdaleno Mesta, and we are ready to proceed as well, Your Honor.
So I'll just say this, Mr. Ed, I didn't hear you, so I don't know if you changed channels or something.
I'm sorry, Judge. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Okay, perfect.
Brian
Sorry.
Herrera for the state of Texas. Sorry, Your Honor.
That's fine, that's fine. And Mr. Magdaleno Mesta is appearing from the jail annex. Ms. Martin, do you see your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay. Sir, I apologize because I'm probably going to have difficulty stating your name. I'm going to be asking you questions regarding your plea today, so I need to swear you in. If you would please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Juro.
Sir, you can put your hand down. Would you state your name for the record, please?
José Carlos Magdaleno Mesa.
Sir, we are scheduled for a plea today. There were documents associated with your plea, the first of which is marked as State's Exhibit Number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Sir, do you recall reviewing that document with your attorney and signing that document?
Sí, claro.
And did you understand everything contained within that document?
Sí, claro.
Ms. Martin, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering a plea today?
Yes, Your Honor, he does.
Sir, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Claro, sí, estoy satisfecho. Sí, muy
Ms.
amable.
Martin, do you have any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter a plea?
Absolutely none, Your Honor. Yes, competent.
Sir, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No,
Ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who's found you mentally ill?
no,
Okay, so based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
no.
Okay, what is your immigration status?
No tengo ninguno.
Okay, Ms. Martin, have we discussed any immigration consequences, potential consequences with your client's plea of guilty today?
Yes, Your Honor, we have. I told Mr. Magdaleno Mr. that he would be deported, excluded from the United States if he accepts this plea because it is a drug-related offense. He stated to me that his entire family is in Mexico and he intends to go back to his home country of Mexico and stay there. I believe he does have an ICE hole, Your Honor.
Okay,
But that's what he told me that he wanted to do, so therefore I set him for a plea.
okay. Sir, let me ask you, your attorney here in the criminal case has advised you of, some serious consequences in terms of your plea of guilty. Have you had the opportunity to seek the advice of any other attorneys, or do you need more time to review the consequences of your plea? Or are you prepared to go forward on your plea today?
Yo ya estoy preparado para. Yo me declaro.
Okay, so I just need to advise. Okay, I am going to just go over some things with you. You understand that you could be removed from the United States.
Sí,
You understand you could be denied the right to enter, remain, and work in the United States.
sí,
You understand that you could be prosecuted and jailed for reentering if you are removed and or deported.
sí, claro.
And do you understand that you could be denied United States citizenship?
Sí, sí entiendo. Claro.
With your understanding of these and any other potential negative consequences, do you want to go forward with your plea today?
Sí. Claro.
Okay, the charge against you, sir, is possession of a controlled substance. Well, actually, it was originally indicted as a possession of controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount between 1 and 4 grams. However, I understand through negotiations, the plea is to the lesser included offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount less than 1 gram. To that lesser included charge, sir, what is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Culpable.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Sí, claro.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Mr. Herrera, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Had the state gone to trial in cause number 2021-0D0-2049, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jose Carlos Magdaleno Mesta, on or about the 15th day of March 2021 in the county of El Paso and state of Texas, did then and there intentionally or knowingly possess a controlled substance, namely methamphetamine, having an aggregate weight, including adulterants or dilutants, an amount of less than 1 gram. At this time, Your Honor, the state would enter States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3, States Exhibit 1 being the plea papers, States Exhibit 2 being the Article 3914 disclosure form, and States Exhibit 3 being the case summary and indictment.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted as to each. Well, just one case. What is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, so the defendant is pleading to a lesser included offense of possession of a controlled substance, PG1 less than 1 gram, state jail felony via 1244A, 145 days confinement in the El Paso County Detention Facility with credit for time served. And the state will be dismissing cause number 2021-0C0-2450 for failure to identify or giving false fictitious information.
Ms. Martinez, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
And sir, is that your understanding as well?
Sí, claro.
Understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is a one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea bargain or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Magdaleno Mesta, do you recall signing that document after you reviewed it with your attorney?
Sí, claro.
Was signed by your attorney and signed by me as well. So on your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your plea and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. I will find you guilty of the lesser included offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount less than 1 gram. And I will sentence you according to the plea agreement and in accordance with 1244A of the Texas Penal Code to 145 days confinement in the El Paso County Detention Facility. You will receive credit for any and all time that you have served. Is there anything further, Mr. Herrera or Ms. Martin?
Nothing further for the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. No, I messed up. Magdaleno Mesta.
Gracias.
All right. So I think we can do Mr. Hellard next, and I don't think we need an interpreter anymore, right, Chewy?
Yes, Judge, I believe that's correct. Annex, so we can get John Hallard, please. John Hallard. Thank you, Mr. Cifuentes.
Thank you, Mr. Sifan. Take care. Julia, is Mr. Hellard your last client?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Your Honor, he is. It was reset from when Judge Reyes was here.
Mhm.
I did schedule a call with Mr. Hellard for tomorrow afternoon to discuss whatever recommendation is made today, unless the court would allow us to go into a breakout room.
What was left outstanding? Let's go ahead and call it. Calling cause number 2018-0D05993, State of Texas versus Hellard. What was left outstanding? I know the questions that I had. I thought what it came down to was significant usage while he was in that treatment, which I think for my purposes pretty much gets us back to where we were, wasn't it, BHRTC?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe he had something like either 6 or 9 dirty ways while he was in treatment.
That's correct, Judge. It was 6.
6.
Yeah. My question, I guess, I don't remember if I discussed it with Judge Reyes or not, or if I just saw it maybe on the YouTube feed when it was going on, but it was significant. And so Ms. Guerra, I know you're on this one, right, as well. It kind of, I think we were trying to figure out other things, but with that information, I think it kind of cancels things out for me. So to me, I'm back at BHRTC.
Okay.
So Julia, I don't know if that's something you want to discuss with your client. What I will say is this: if we're going to do a breakout room, happy to accommodate it. I just want to go through. So I was thinking you would be done, but if you need a breakout room, if you just want to stay in the background, and when we get back to we finish the others, we'll get back to you so you can have that breakout room.
All right, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Heller, we're going to bring you back in just a second so that you can speak with your attorney, okay? Thank you.
To let
All right.
them know that he has been screened and accepted for BHRTC.
Oh, great. Thanks, Ms. Guerra.
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, Judge, would you like to take care of?
Let me. Ms. Guerra, how long is the wait for BHRTC?
I do not have that information.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Your Honor.
That's
Because
okay.
I know he's gonna ask that.
Yes, you're smart. You're right. Okay, who's next?
Annex, we can get Luis Cortes, please. Luis Cortes.
Judge, did you want me to hang out?
Ms. Martin, do you want Ms. Guerra here, or maybe she can just touch base with you if she needs you? I don't know.
I can email you, Ms. Guerra, if you
Okay.
want.
That's fine.
And I will let the court know, of course, his decision.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank
All
you.
right. Go ahead, Shui.
Yes, Judge. Cause number 2019-0D03226. Cause number 2020-0D00058. And cause number 2020-0D01582. State of Texas versus Luis Alberto Cortes. Announcement, counsel, please.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Rafael Morales on behalf of Mr. Luis Cortes, Judge.
And Mr. Cortez is appearing from the jail annex today. We are set for a status conference. I think I had allowed a little bit more time because, this ongoing concern. I didn't know if Mr. Morales, you had an opportunity to meet with your client, and I will hear from you whether you want to continue to urge your motion.
And Judge, I have had an opportunity to meet with him in person over the last couple of months. Well, actually, I met with him today, and I've talked to him a dozen times this year, easily a dozen times. I still have the same concerns, and I understand the court's position, and I'm going to look in and see if there's any authority that would guide me in my decision, in my course of action here, Judge. I won't reiterate the points. I know you're well aware of them, but from talking to him today, he seems competent to me. But again, I mean that is my lay opinion. But he seems very well aware of what is going on, and I know that he wants to complete the plea, and the state of Texas has given him a generous plea offer, and I think it's a good deal as well. And it really is just that competency issue. In my lay opinion, he is competent, but I am concerned with that most recent hospitalization. And I'll do some additional research, Judge, and put together any authority I come up with.
Mr. Cortez, I'm not asking you to disclose any of the substance, in other words, the details of the conversations that you had with your attorney, but he said that you all spoke today. Were you able to communicate with him and you understood everything that was going on at this point?
Yeah, I enjoyed the visit, and I put all my mind, heart into this conversation, and he's always been a great dude, and I have too. I just made a mistake. It was good. I understood.
Okay, and so I need to ask a few more questions. We are set. We've kind of just been bringing you back, since we got you back from the facility. And so we had a status conference on November 9th. Looks like we had one back on November 7th. And so we've been about a week out. We are scheduled, I believe I mentioned this last time, but we are scheduled for a jury trial on December 2nd. And I know there is an offer out there because we discussed it last time as well. You're still aware of that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you understanding what it means? In other words, both of your options of either accepting the offer from the state or not accepting it and having a jury trial. Do you understand that process?
I do.
Okay, okay. So with that said, I'm not going to inquire anymore, Mr. Morales. Like I said, if you have more to present to the court, I need to have it before that November 30th final hearing plea deadline. Okay?
Will do,
So remember, get whatever, if you're going to file something, send it to us with the request. We'll have the hearing. The final hearing plea deadline, it is at 3 o'clock. Perfect. So we're going to come back on that last hearing before the trial setting, Mr. Cortes. If your attorney has any issues, we'll have that hearing that day, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Cortes. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Thank you, Judge.
All righty. Who's next, Chewy?
Hey, Judge Ramsey. Annex, if we can get Cecilia Ramsey, please. Sylvia Cecilia Ramsey.
Okay, go ahead, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2020-020-4156. State of Texas versus Sylvia Cecilia Ramsey. Announcement, counsel.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
And Daniel Avalar for Sylvia Ramsey, Judge.
Okay. And is that Ms. Kendrick? Are you here on this one?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Yes, and Ms. Ramsey is appearing from the jail annex. I do have the updated summary. I believe we were just pushed back 1 week out. No, Mr. Avalar, because we had an outstanding appointment. It looks like TAP is recommending residential treatment.
BHRTC?
I would say yes, and then there's a thing here, no results from EHN as of yet. Is that right, Ms. Kendrick?
Yes, Judge.
Is there anything there that you think might impact? I mean, I don't have, as trained in a set of skills as when they evaluate them through TAP, but it sounds right to me, BHRTC. Mr. Avalar, have you talked to your client at all? I know it's a quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround, Judge. I wasn't expecting the BHRTC route, only for two reasons. One, it was a quick turnaround from her plea to the, I guess, the violation and subsequent goings on, but also the mental health evaluation that she was going to go under along with the TAP evaluation. And so I was sort of, I guess, hoping, for lack of a better word, that we would get her out of custody and treat her the way she needs to be treated from the defense's standpoint.
Okay, so one thing I can assure you is that, yeah, I think I agree with you on that, Mr. Avalar, is that we don't have the EHN angle. And I don't think we could guess. I was going to ask, how much do we think the EHN input is going to make a difference? But I don't think we can guess at that. We have a final hearing plea deadline on November. Wait, wrong. She's on probation. Wrong case here. Hold on a second. Okay, no, we don't have a follow-up. Ms. Kendrick, do we know when we could, is it possible we're going to get that EHN information before the end of the week?
I spoke to the deputy director, Ms. Caro, and we've been in contact with him constantly with the jail liaison. So it should be by the end of the week. We've been in constant contact. Even this morning, we were in contact with the liaison.
Mr. Avalar, because of difficulties with scheduling, I wanted to place a hearing, just a status hearing at 11 a.m. Oh, no, not at 11 a.m. At 10 a.m. on Thursday. And basically, that's going to be my marker to double check. If it comes to us being able to conference this case with the state, either that day or Friday, I just basically want to see if we have something back from EHN. Because if we don't hear from them this week, then we're not going to come back until November 30th. Okay.
Please, Judge. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll try and get you before, before the holiday.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for that.
Some input. All right, so we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you,
ma'am.
Ms.
Thank you.
Ramsey, for waiting on more information. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Judge, from my docket, at 11 a.m., the court said,
I said, I'll do, because we have an 11 a.m. hearing.
or whatever time you need me to be there.
Yeah, 10 is good. 10 is good. Just know, if
Okay.
we don't have anything, we're going to the 30th of November.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Ms.
you,
Cortes. Thank you
Judge.
very much for your help on this.
May I excuse you, Honor?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
if we can get Randy, Martel, and Christopher Martel, please.
Still a lot of people here. All righty, go ahead, Chief. Oh,
They're
not
bringing up the defendants, Judge.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
Cause number 2021-0D00640, State of Texas versus Randy Alexander Martel. Cause number 2021-0D00641, State of Texas versus Christopher Rick Martel. Announcement, counsel, please.
Brian Herrera and Curtis Cox for the state of Texas. Ready, Your Honor.
Felix Valenzuela on behalf of both defendants, State, Your Honor. We're ready.
Okay, and the defense are appearing from the jail annex. We're set for final judges conference. What did we have outstanding? I know our next final judges conference isn't until March. I thought we were somewhat on track.
As far as the defense is concerned, Your Honor, we have a meeting set up with the DPS agent on items that need to be tested. We have made multiple outreaches and have set up for, I think it's December 2nd or 3rd. On items of evidence the state has that need to be tested for the defense and actually for the prosecution in this case. So that's where the defense is at right now, Judge.
Okay.
And Mr. Valenzuela, if you need any assistance getting that through the bureaucratic channels, let me know. I'll do everything I can.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cox. I appreciate that.
Okay. I think with the new trial, the backup trial setting in place, I think we're on track. I just would remind you all, if anything were to come up and you require a hearing, with the holidays, things get crazy. So just let us know ASAP so we can get you scheduled, okay? Appreciate your assistance on this.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who's
And
next?
Mr. Valenzuela, just one more thing. I don't know if either you or Mr. Spencer's been in touch with Michelle Hill, but there's a thumb drive I think that's ready to get picked up.
Perfect. Yeah, we have not gotten notice of that, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah. I think we've got it, and we'll send notice if we haven't already.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Maybe excuse, Judge.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Valenzuela. Long time no see.
Have a good one, Judge.
Take care.
Annex, if we can get Moises Martinez, please. Moises
Yes,
Martinez.
I knew there was missing.
And that should be the last one, Judge. That's the add-on.
Add-on, that's what I can say. I was missing pages from my docket earlier, and now I have double. So I was like, wait a minute, I have 3 more pages. What's going on?
Ronnie, a quick question here, Dennis. We also have a Gabaldon, Ivan.
Oh, yes, the hearing was this morning and the attorney said he didn't need to see his client. So Mr. Gabaldon is taken care of. Thank you, Annex. Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
So now Moises Martinez, let's see, what date is he? He's on the 10th, is that right? 9th and 10th? Let me see. Oh, that's right. We had a motion for continuance. Okay. Is that Mr. Martinez? Yes.
It is, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All righty. Go ahead, Chewy.
Yes, Judge. It's cause number 2019-0D05859, State of Texas versus Moises Martinez. Announcement, counsel, please.
Brian Herrera for the state of Texas. Ready, Your Honor.
Christopher Hernandez, Frank Shelley for Mr. Martinez. We're ready as well.
Okay, and I think we had to get this set because we do have a motion for continuance from the state. Let me just go back and look. So I have us down specially set on December 10th. Let me make sure on the calendar. I believe those are 2 panels on December 10th. I'm kind of wondering why we don't also have you on the 9th, but at the very least, we have the 2 panels on the 10th. All right, what I had not seen, but I am seeing now on Odyssey is defense objection, objection to continuance. Okay, so let me go back to the state's motion. Mr. Herrera, are you on this one?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, what's going on with the motion for continuance?
Your Honor, so there are just a few points that are listed in the motion. Number one being the state's objection to the jury panel size. I believe the, if I'm not mistaken, the court has 1 panel set for the 10th, or 2 panels rather. So even with 2 panels of 114 people, I don't believe that would suffice for a case of this nature, given that it's an injury to a child. And then secondly, Your Honor, obviously there has been quite a bit of turnover and in our office. I have had an opportunity to go through with Mr. Hernandez as far as any outstanding records, and I believe that we've got everything that we need. However, just given the amount of records, the state is asking for more time to review those in preparation for trial. And then lastly, Your Honor, I am waiting to get my COVID-19 booster. I hope to have it before that December 10th date, but at this point, I have not received that. So there is some concern with trying this case with, indoors with this many individuals in close proximity.
Okay. Who is it? Mr. Herrera, is it just you handling this case or who else?
Judge, so I do believe Miss Lexa Ritchie, somebody from the SVU unit, will be hopping on board with me. We are not asking for a the earliest possible date that the judge could entertain this case. Obviously, the defendant is in custody and has been in custody for quite some time. So we're not requesting, that it be set out months away, but rather just a day where we can have maybe more panels, okay, and then maybe sometime in January, so that I can have enough time to review those records, if that's a possibility.
Okay. All right, who's lead on this, or who wants to take it, Mr. Hernandez or Mr. Shelley?
Your Honor, I'll take it. So first off, when it comes to the panel size, 114 may be adequate. Given what I know about this case and the things I've shared, I may not use all 10 of my strikes, depending on, what our jury looks like. Also, too, under 32A.01, we have priority as a case where it's a criminal case where a client's in custody, but also under B, we have priority because this also involves a victim under the age of 14. When it comes to the state requesting more time to prepare, certainly that's within the court's discretion whether or not to give them that time. However, Mr. Martinez has been in custody more than 90 days, and if the state is not ready to proceed and his case is delayed, he is entitled to release under 17-151. So we're asking that the state's motion for continuance be denied. If the court does grant the state's motion for continuance, that the court release Mr. Martinez under 17-151.
Okay, does anybody have a conflict to begin jury selection on December 9th?
No, I don't.
So I'm looking at I'm trying to go through the hearings and I'm actually not seeing I think the last, I'm going to say realistic trial setting that we had in this case was July 30th, 2021. And at that time, we did not receive, let me ask about these outstanding, how long have these documents, these voluminous documents been available to both the state and the defense? I mean, when did we get these? Because this is the first time we had a trial setting in July, and I didn't hear then that we had a ton of documents that needed to be reviewed.
And let me pull this up, Judge, but
It's been months, Your Honor. There are no new documents since the CPS records when Ms. Martinez had this case.
So when was the last, I guess, when was the last batch of documents? I remember there being certain records that, were being requested over the course of this case. And there was a lot of that was during the time when we were not having. So
It would have been over the summer sometime.
this summer?
Yes, this summer.
I'm seeing July. Well, there were the last date I see, Your Honor, is the El Paso Children's Hospital. It's 1,248 pages on September 30th, 2021. So that's the last one. And then we went through everything last week, if not maybe 10 days ago. And we generated a new delivery slip just so that Mr. Hernandez had everything that they needed. But yeah, the last item I think we received on September 30th, 2021.
So we've had 2 months, almost 2 months to review those documents. I don't know, I know you all were working on things, in terms of maybe not anticipating this would be a trial, but you can't rely on that. So I would imagine that the parties would be working diligently in the event that we did go to trial. So if there's nothing else on the motion for continuance, I am going to add, because we do have the panel secured, the additional third panel secured for December 9th. I'm going to add that date. So we would start on the 9th and then have the 2 panels. So that increases potentially. And assuming in the next week or so, we don't get pulled from trials, things of that nature. I'm not deaf to, the health concerns. I know that right now we are potentially experiencing some upticks, and we'll see between now and those dates if circumstances change. But for now, we're going to add that December 9th jury trial setting. So you're actually kind of set Thursday and Friday, but basically what that means is you have 3 panels now. I will let Mr. Shelley and Mr. Hernandez know, just because I know Mr. Herrera, there are a few cases and they are inmates, cases that are set for those dates. And so Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Shelley, what I'm saying is for right now, that motion for continuance is denied. And so we are still going. That said, you may not be number 1. I don't know that. I'll have to look at the cases that we have finally for those dates. Okay. And if you have something that you would like to urge with respect to a bond, anything of that nature, we can address it closer to that trial date or shortly thereafter regarding your client's bond. But for now, that's how we're going to go forward. We've got 3 panels now. Again, anything else that you all need a hearing on, please forward it to us, to both Sandy and myself, so we can get you a hearing. Because we're not coming back I don't think until the final hearing plea deadline on December 7th. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Herrera.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, sir.